oh boy, the dark crystal is dark.
Is what?
Is dark. It is.
Oh.
What do you think I said?
Is doc like a Google Doc? And I was like, what?
No.
What do you mean? Yeah, it totally is. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on this.
Sisters who've seen it. We are the sisters who've seen it. Sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, sisters, sisters who've seen it.
Hello!
Hey there!
Happy New Year! Oh.
2020 is over! You're flying! We're on rainbows! Unicorns are around us! It's gone! It's gone! Sorry.
Yeah, let's hope there's not, like, more horrible things that's happened at this point, because we record these ahead of time. Take a sip every time we say that, because I think we say it every episode. It gets referenced. So, yes, welcome back, listeners. It's the new year. We're back. We didn't quit. We're ready to go for the new year.
Yeah, I mean, we've never really had, like, official conversation on, should we keep going? Should we not? I think this is just part of my week now.
This is just who we are.
Yeah, and I have to make a shout out to a friend.
Who's that?
A fan.
Oh!
So, I've told you about my friends Ashley and Cody, right?
Yes.
They're the ones with the RV, and they're driving all over the U.S.
Yes.
So when we did the National Lampoon's movie, they were offended that I didn't bring up that I knew someone like Cousin Eddie in an RV.
With an RV.
Because of how loyal fans they are. So I'm just going to take a moment and say hi to Ashley and Cody, because whenever we wonder what people are doing while listening to our podcast, they're driving. So
in their RV.
In their RV.
Cross country.
Yep.
Got it.
So hey guys.
Hi. We love you. Thanks for listening. You. Well, I hope they're shards and full like Cousin Eddie's. So you can only hope. That's my hope for you in 2021. All right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to introduce us because hopefully y'all already know us. But if you don't, welcome.
Welcome.
Happy New Year. So we are the Sisters Who've Seen It, the podcast where two sisters who are not movie critics look back on some of our favorites throughout the years through a psychological, ethical, and familial lens. I'm Katie.
I'm Bridget.
And I'm excited to talk about this movie. I don't have anything funny to say about it right now, but
Katie,
there's a lot of feelings.
What do I do with the shard?
If there was a drinking game for this movie, that's number one. Because we would all be dead.
Okay, I have to get this out of my system because I'm a 5-year-old.
Oh wait, and we're doing the Dark Crystal, everybody, so...
Ooh.
For all our listeners who can't read the title, if you are unable to, it's the Dark Crystal.
It's the Dark Crystal. And I have to get this out of the way because I'm a 5-year-old. So, when you, and I know you'll beep this out,
shard,
and fart, it's called a
shard.
In my mind, every time I heard them say a shard, I thought of that, and I was laughing because I'm a child and I have issues.
Well,
thank you for letting me get that out.
Okay, well, this, even though this is a kid's movie, there were no fart jokes besides that one, I guess. So there you go. Yeah, I like this movie.
1982, Jim Henson. I read that he purposely made this scary for kids because he felt like it was dangerous only making movies where kids felt safe.
Okay.
Like, they had to be more prepared for the real world, and we gotta give them some scary...
I kind of agree with that, because this isn't like horror movie. It's just like dark themes and scary imagery. But it's not like nothing pops out or anything stupid.
No.
Well, there's one part that pops out, but...
He's got the Brothers Grimm. That was what inspired him. Like those really like scary, kind of dark fairy tale.
One day we'll do an episode on that long-lost 1960s movie that we had on VHS.
You'll have to ship me the VHS tape, and then I have to
find
figure out how to play it.
Do they sell DVDs of it? I don't know. I found the name out, though, so that's step one. Anyway, sorry, off track. I kind of agree with him, though, because, I don't know, I mean, many kids will grow up and love scary movies, but when they're kids, it's usually not appropriate to watch a scary movie, because there's like gore or sex or whatever. You could argue even violence. So something like this, you're kind of getting exposed to it. And if you're like into it and you're feeling it, like I was feeling it a little bit, then, you grow up and you're like, now I'm ready to adult up in my movies. Now I'm gonna go watch a scary movie.
Adult up is a new phrase, people.
Yes.
Who's ready to adult up today?
Yes. So I agree with him on that. But I don't know if other people who were children who saw this would agree with that, because I wonder if there are people who were, like, a little scarred or traumatized to a degree from this stuff.
Apparently there was a test audience, and it didn't do well because parents thought that the kids would be too afraid or have nightmares. And then Jim Henson was so adamant that, like, the production company, because they weren't really, like, promoting it because of that, because they were like, oh, it's not going to be so great.
Yeah.
That he bought the entire movie rights, which in 1982 was $15 million.
Oh my word.
And
Jesus.
Took it himself and promoted it, and then I think it went on to make like $40 million. So I think this was such a wild concept to people, even though all those 80s movies are like kind of dark.
Yeah, a lot of the kids' ones were dark anyway, but
he started
this was like a fantasy dark, This is like, this is Lord of the Rings vibe.
Very Lord of the Rings vibe.
Yeah, which is probably another reason why I'm into it.
Frodo is Jen.
Frodo is Jen, except Frodo uses his mouth to make words and not like a narration so that his mouth doesn't move, because that's what happened. That's what I noticed this time around that clearly other times I didn't care about. I was like, wow, he isn't like speaking with his mouth. Is it because he's a puppet and it looks a little weird? So we're just gonna make it voiceover? Cool. We'll just pretend he's thinking it the whole time. That makes sense. Yeah.
I think so. I think they were just like, I mean, okay, we should get into it, but you should do your synopsis, because knowing you, you're gonna like probably inform me of things I missed too. So wow, they're stretching people. They're stretching.
What would you do if I just whipped out like hand puppets? Like I had little dark crystal hand puppets. I don't, but like, how would you react?
I'd be so happy. Oh, now I'm remembering I was supposed to go to the witch store and get crystals. I failed.
No, there's still time.
Okay, all right, maybe
Please get it for when you visit.
Okay, what do you got?
Okay, so this is a dark movie, and it starts off pretty dark, and you get this narration while we're looking at a, like, desolate night something land, and there's a scary castle that's got a lot of spikes on it. It's a very spiky castle. And the narrator is like, yo, this is like a magical land, and there's these evil beings called the Skeksis, and they're in charge. We're not told why they're in charge, but I can speak to that later on, so hang on to that fun fact. And they're evil, so they basically killed off an entire race in this world, the Gelflings. And they talk about how, when the Skeksis appeared, then this other magical, like, creatures appeared, and they're the mystics, and they're, like, the cool hippie grandpas that are making sand art, and they have, like, 8 arms, and it's so cool. And yeah, so then the narrator's kind of like, oh, there's a dark crystal, it's evil, that's what they use to like get their power, and you know, one of them is dying, and there's a prophecy that they're gonna get overthrown or beaten by a gelfling, blah blah. And then we get introduced to the Skeksis, and they are so scary. They're still scary. Because they're like vultures, and I hate that so much. They've got beaks, and like, I just hate it.
Wispy hair.
Oh, I know, and like, yeah, it's like, because it's not like feathers. There's just like weird shapes.
It was like dinosaur,
yeah,
predator bird, and lizard is what I read he was going for. A combination of that.
Very thankful they couldn't fly, because I would have been
Shark.
up. So... Thanks, Jim. They were probably just limited by the puppets, to be honest. So, anyway, they're evil. And their emperor, or whatever, is basically disintegrating in a bed. He's, like, dying. And he literally disintegrates in front of their eyeballs.
Okay, this is going to be a long synopsis. Are we
Sorry.
going?
Okay, let's speed it up. He dies, shoots the mystics. Oh snap, one of those guys is dying, and then we meet the Gelfling, whose name is Jen, spelled with a G, I'm pretty sure. Might need to fact check that.
Nope.
I wrote G in all my notes. Okay, it's a
J.
J. Well, that's gonna be a spell checker then. Anyway, we meet him, he talks with the old mystic who's dying, and he's like, yo, there's a prophecy, and you have to go do all this stuff, literally in like 2 days. And then he goes, I should have told you sooner. Yes. Correct. Agreed. Because there is a time limit, because all of this has to be done before these 3 suns basically like eclipse, and they call it a conjunction, the Great Conjunction. So Jen has to go on an adventure. He doesn't know anything about anything, and he has to go meet this lady, Augra, who's a different type of creature, and then she has all these crystal shards, and so he's supposed to find a crystal shard with a D.
I'm sorry.
And he's supposed to take the shard and then put it back into the dark crystal to basically restore peace and fix whatever. So the Skeksis, they know about this prophecy, and basically there's this whole thing where there's 2 of them that fight, and then there's like a new emperor, and so one gets banished. And then literally like a second after that happens, the crystal's like, yo, remember that prophecy that, again, we all knew about, but like nobody cared about it till today? Then they're like, oh snap, we should start caring about that right now. And then they're like, we gotta go find this Gelfling. So they have these creatures that are like henchmen, that are like giant beetle bugs, and they're sent out to go find it. So the evil Skeksi, who got banished, is then like, oh, I'm gonna go find him too, and like get myself back in with those people who literally just beat me up, because I want to rejoin them. That's its own issue. So basically, to sum it up, because I know it's not so summed, Jen goes, gets the shard. Ogra literally tells him what he has to do with it, and then he continues for the whole next like 30 minutes to ask, what do I do with this, to himself. And so that's weird. So he then meets another Gelfling who is a girl, and they're like, oh snap, I thought it was just me. Oh my god, crazy. And they bond, and then they have to run away from the evil guys. They both then figure out, oh my gosh, we know what we have to do with the shard, even though Jen was literally told what he has to do with it. Somehow they figure it out through runes. I don't know. So then they get to the castle, and it's like a whole bunch of stuff happens. It's crazy, but don't worry, because in the end, Jen remembers what he does with the shard. And he fixes the dark crystal, and then it's not dark, I think. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe you forgot one of the, I think, star characters.
Vizgig, the little dog.
Yeah!
I know, he's so cute.
The little fluff ball.
Yeah, and he rolls around. It was so funny.
Wow. I think you did a great synopsis. I think the only thing that I didn't really understand, which maybe you can help me, is the mystics were headed to the castle.
Oh my god. Yeah,
And
I forgot about that.
I don't understand why when he put the shard into the crystal and then it became good again, then the mystics were like, oh. no. And then they just go away. And you're like, wait, you're not gonna like rule the land?
No, they didn't go away. Did you see what happened?
They turned into some other weird thing and then they disappeared.
Oh, well, correct. Yes, they did. But
okay.
But they were like, it was like the Skeksis were like evil, but the Mystics were good, and originally they were one being, but then when the crystal cracked, they split apart, and so that's why the Mystics were like, again, I don't know why we had to wait till this moment. I feel like we could have like just done this sooner. I don't understand. But that's when they were traveling, and that's why at the end they like mushed into one.
If I could talk to Jim Henson before this movie, I would ask for one change. The crystal is huge, right?
It is.
It's this huge, massive thing. The little tiny piece that comes off of it, you're telling me that's what splits humanity into good and evil takes over? I mean, it looked like the crystal stubbed its toe. So why couldn't we actually split the crystal in half, and then I would like visually get that that's what he meant, like good and evil was broken open. Instead, I was like, is the crystal that petty that it's like, excuse me, you chipped off and so now evil's gonna take over?
Possibly.
I mean, a lot of people died for that. Yikes.
Yeah, there was like mass genocide. We don't see it, but like literally a whole race was murdered. And I don't know if you looked into the fun facts, but I would imagine if you did, this was somewhere in there. So last year, Netflix made a TV show that was like a prequel to the movie.
Oh.
And it was called The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, I think.
Okay.
And it was a series, so it was like maybe 8 episodes. And it was really good. I watched all of it. And it's still puppets, but they like fused CGI and puppets. So everything was puppets and like practical, but then they would do some CGI, but it looks really good. And the puppets are better because they actually speak with their mouths. So that's an improvement. But it's basically like the whole point of it was to show how everything started getting messed up. Because initially, and like you kind of see it when they're in that one scene with the ruins. And they're like, wow, look at all this. There's like the prophecy. And they were like, oh, Gelflings, you know, they used to live here. And you see a throne because the Gelflings used to be like the ones in charge of the whole worlds, and they were all different kinds. And then the Skeksis, they weren't necessarily evil right away. They were kind of just like, we're like really smart and we're gonna educate everyone. And they were like, okay, we'll all coexist. So it was like a coexisting initially, and then the Skeksis realized, because they had the crystal, and they call it like the crystal of truth, which I think they call that at the end again, because it's supposed to like you can like learn whatever through the crystal. I don't know. But then they learned that they could like suck the life out of like, and they did it with a Gelfling, and then that's when they learned like this can keep us young, and then that's when they start their whole like mass genocide scariness in the show. And I just want to say something to all you listeners, and if any listener out there is a Netflix executive, I want to say shame on you, okay? Because that series had such high ratings. I don't know if a lot of people watched it, but it had high ratings, and it did not get renewed for a second season, which is very upsetting because there was so much good stuff in there, and it will never be. It's gone forever. Meanwhile, Gwyneth Paltrow has a pseudoscience show on Netflix that got 1 star, and it's so horrible, but that's getting a second season. The world is trash. Okay, that's all I had to say.
I'm just excited we have Netflix executives listening.
Yeah, I don't know if that's real, but, you know, we can all just play a game of telephone and get the message out to them, so.
I just did a quick search, and I think this show was really expensive to make.
Well, I could see that, because there's no humans in it, you know? Like, so, you had double actors, because you had puppeteers you're paying, and then you had voice actors, and then you had all the practical, and also the CGI. Oh, but it looks so good, though. So good.
So I looked up in this time, 1982, this was the first live action film with all puppets.
That's cool.
And it took, actually, I'm going to ask you, how many years do you think it took to make?
7.
Ooh, 5.
Oh, wow. I figured it would take long.
So I read a lot about the animatronics and the whole creative process, and Jim Henson just sounded so cool.
Oh my god, I know, right?
Besides just whatever his creativity and cool factor with that, like, he was just a really good boss,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of just, like, let people do their thing. So you, like, everything I read was about how, you know, he thought it was going to go one way, and somebody, like, interpreted it differently, and he was like, that's cool, let's go this way.
Yeah.
And there wasn't even supposed to be, like, a crystal in this one.
What? That's in the title.
And
What's happening?
the guy, I believe his name is Brian, what is his name? The illustrator that inspired the whole...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Brian Found? Froud. That's what it is. Froud. Brian Froud. Jim Henson saw his, like, illustrative work on a book and was like, I want to talk to that dude. And then, boom, they're making this whole movie together, and he's, like, creating everything. And he would go one way and another way, and Jim Henson just, like, was like, that's cool, let's do that. That's cool, let's do that. And I read that anybody could come up to Jim Henson and, like, pitch an idea. Like, you could be the janitor, and he would sit down and be like, talk to me about why, and, like, would just...
That is cool.
So, like, it took so long, and they got to take their time, and it's like, movies don't get that anymore.
No.
It's like, you try to make it as cheap as possible and try to make as much money as possible, do it as quick, and it's like, bleh. Like, this is just so cool!
You could tell it was like a passion project, though, you know? Because it was so different. Like, now I think that type of story is more common, where it's like, the chosen one, and blah, blah, and the mythical journey, and blah. But, I don't know, not at that time, I don't think it was that common. Like, I literally can only think of Lord of the Rings, because that was a book that wasn't even, like, a movie yet, I don't think.
Willow, Katie.
Well, Willow was after this, though.
No, this inspired even, like, never-ending story. Like, any of those kind of dark tales. This is what started to, like, kick up that trend.
Right.
But the genius of this film is the really tiny details.
Oh my god, I know! There's like so many secret little puppet things that are happening.
You'd pan to the left, and then there's like a puppet frog that just does like a silly leap. And you're just like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody would even see that or know what's happening, and like...
Right.
You know what it made me think of too with Fern Gully? How they went to Australia and like studied the forest and like went into the details. It's like, it sounds so dumb, but it makes such a difference. And he did that. Like, the one scene with the flowers, and they just started to like
fly away.
That's
so cool.
I was like, what? What a little delight.
I know. It's like, and there were a lot of scenes where it was like, there's nothing happening. We're just like looking, you know, like you're just getting the feel for where we are. And those 4 scenes were so fun.
Yep. Now, the witch lady, what the heck was her name?
Ogra.
Ogra was...
She was a sassafras.
She was rough around the edges,
her
am I right?
and Fizzgig should go do some stand-up comedy, because I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I think it'd be a hit.
If your character's introduced by an eyeball, a hand holding an eyeball, you know you're gonna be cool.
She's so
like, that was cool.
Yeah, she's like a sassy grandma. But she literally told him what to do, and he didn't listen. And then there was another line, like, before the bug things were called the Gartham. And before they come in and mess up her house, then she says it again where she's like, I know what it's for. I'll tell you. And then they like interrupt her. And I was like, wait, but we already know because you said it before. You said the shard has to go into the crystal. I don't understand. Like,
yeah, but she also kind of was like, it could be the end of the world or it could be the beginning. So she kind of...
Yeah, she kind of was like, I know what it means. It means... who knows? And you're like, wait, that sounds stupid.
Yeah, kind of, like she was like, you need to just teach the lesson.
So if you really liked her, she is in the show. She's up in there because everyone must have known she was fan fave. So they had her in there. And her whole story was like, which was interesting because that show was supposed to be a prequel. And then in that, she, I guess, could like predict the future. Or there was like something where she was like, something's messed up in the world. Let me go to those Skeksis because they're like smart. And then she goes and then I think she discovers remembers like what they're doing and that they're all evil, and then she like gets really emo and is like, I messed up, I ruined everything, and like wham, and then she just becomes like a little hermit lady.
Wow.
And then I guess she goes crazy. But it's funny because there is that one scene where she gets like taken to them in a bag, and
ooh,
like,
she reads them the riot act.
oh my god, yeah, it was so funny. And they just sit there like, oh, how dare you? Like, they don't like kill her, but they beat up the other guy because he couldn't hit a stone hard enough. But she's allowed to like make fun of them and doesn't die. So
I couldn't believe that they didn't like kill or attack her.
like nothing, no.
She literally came in, read them the riot act, and they just took it. They're like, all right, let's send out the bats,
Right.
put the woman in the corner.
They're like, whatever, just walk her away. But like, they don't act like they know her. So I think that was like, that part of the show was just, they just added it in. I don't think they really knew her, you know? It was just like something made up. But yeah, I feel like the Skeksis, like, again, you know, I think of not good planning, you know? We all know about, you know, what's going to be our downfall. So what are we doing? What's our plan? What do we have a vision board? Do we have, like, steps laid out? Like, there's nothing. There's nothing. Then one day they're just like, I guess we'll, like, do something about it. Whatever.
So I think the movie doesn't do this enough justice, but in real life, they're huge.
They look really big, though. I think they look big.
Okay, but there was 6 different people for each one of them.
Inside?
2 inside.
What?
And then the others were like, it's a puppet, right? They're moving
Yeah.
the rest of the body.
Oh, that's crazy.
So, I don't know, you start to just be like, this type of art form, it sounds so dumb, but like, we need something. We need a new Muppet.
Yeah.
I want that, and I don't want technology. Or if it's technology, like, make it so unbelievable we don't know what's happening.
But that's how I felt with the show. It was like the same stuff, and it was, you knew they were puppets, but it looked so good. It was insane. But yeah, I know. There's just like, I don't know, people don't do practical effects as much anymore.
We need it. Well, and he had 5 kids, I believe, Jim Henson. So, like,
whoa!
come on. Like,
Dang.
one of them's got to have some inspiration they're cooking up to make something
There might
incredible.
be some Muppet stuff happen. I feel like there was a show that they did. I don't know where or when or what's happening, but I feel like I remember that recently, that there was maybe a Muppet show. I feel like, though, kids now, they like,
They don't care.
they don't appreciate the joy.
When they adult up.
When they adult up, then they gonna learn.
Okay, wait. I have some random pieces of this film that I'd like to pick apart.
Okay, I'm ready.
Jen.
Are we sure it's a J? Are you, like, how sure?
I mean...
Is it 100%?
On Google search sure? I mean, is that... How sure is that?
That's sure. All right. That's pretty sure. I really thought it was a G. I don't know why. Okay, anyway,
So,
sorry.
okay. Now, your whole family is massacred along with every single other individual like you, and you are different, and you have this mystic that helps you grow up, and okay, fine, whatever. Who the hell is doing his hair? Because...
Yo, those mystics they got hands.
I mean, he's got like
So-
Kesha hair with a little blue, some chop in the back. There's the layering's terrible.
I was gonna say, it was an interesting
I
hair
didn't understand like the point of that. And then you meet Kira, right? That's her name, the other one.
Yes.
And she looked like, okay, I get it. You have this kind of like elf, you know, and you're called Gelfling.
It's
so like,
Gelf.
yeah, so you're like, okay, I kind of follow you, whatever. And then when they meet, they like trauma bond when they like
Oh
shake
my
hands.
god. Wait, there's a term for that, and they definitely did not explain it well because
It's just like,
it was so random.
wait, what? So they could have had a little more personality and backstory.
Yeah, Jen, for me, he felt flatter.
Yes.
I liked Kira better.
Kira was great.
Because she actually, like, did stuff and knew what was going on. She was like, here, we're gonna, like, solve this problem by doing this. And Jen's like, but what about the shard? And she's like, we already know what we're doing, Jen. You need to use your listening ears.
I can't tell you how many movies, and listen, I'm pro Jim Henson, so I'm not gonna totally knock him, that have this male lead that's like a dud.
Like an idiot.
And then there's the female sidekick that just does everything for them.
Yeah.
It's like they knew women were doing cool stuff, but they weren't gonna give them the lead. That's so annoying.
Like, all he knew how to do was play stupid flute. My God. It's not about you, Jen. I'm trying to listen to the really cool Podling band, and Jen's trying to take the spotlight with his flute. And I'm over
literally,
it.
like, let's put their resumes, right? Kira's like, I speak 17 different languages.
Speaks to animals, like all
I
types.
fly.
She has wings.
Fly. I have
Yep.
better hair. That's
She does.
serious.
She does. Let's count that. She knows what to do with the shard.
She knows what to do with the shard. She also, like, has this cool dog, and anybody who has dogs gets bonus points.
Yep.
And essentially leads him to the castle, so then she's also a navigator.
Oh, that's true, because he literally doesn't know. I don't even think he knows what a castle is.
No, he
at
has
this
no
point.
idea. And she's also the brave one that, like, gets him to jump on the crystal, and he had one job to just put it in, and he drops it. So then she's like, ugh. So she's gotta fly down. She's gotta get his thing. And now we have him. He's like, I get told what to do. He made it to the witch. Okay, so you're like, okay, I'll give you that. You, like, got to the witch.
Yeah, but that's only because he had, like, a picture shown to him. If he didn't have that, no way. No way.
I mean, if anything, he's not slow. He's got a good pace.
Yeah.
And everything else, I mean, what did he offer?
It would have been cool if, like, the one mystic. I'm laughing because it's gonna be really ridiculous what I'm about to say. I kind of wish that the mystic, it was like kind of like Karate Kid, where he, like, with all his hands and arms taught him karate. So then at least Jen would be like, oh, I'm actually also a karate master, because my master was that old guy with 8 arms. He taught me how to judo chop. So then at least he could bring something.
He doesn't even know how to ride the 2-legged horse bug thing.
No, he doesn't.
Whatever that was.
I don't know. There were a lot of interesting names. By the way, the traumatic flashback hand-holding was called dream fasting.
Oh.
Which is something that gelflings are able to do when they touch hands. They can, like, see each other's memories, and it's a big plot point in the show.
Wow.
So, yeah. But no, it didn't get explained very well, because we're all just like, why are we seeing flashbacks?
It was a lot of flashbacks, and I was like, I mean, I guess, like, I thought it was like the scene in the movie where, like, 2 people were catching up, and they, like, sped it up over time, and like, oh, I guess...
And they're like a little baby. You're like, wait a second.
And then I was like, why is he, like, doing arithmetic? Oh, okay, he does have another resume point. He knows what writing is.
Okay, sure.
And she was like, what's writing? And he goes, what did he say?
He goes, it's words that stay. Which is... I mean, that is true. They're not leaving.
But, so, okay, one more point on his resume.
I love in that flashback where it's, okay, we're seeing the trauma and, like, okay, we get it, you're being raised. There's the one sicko scene where Jen's like, that's me getting a bath, Kira. I was like, ew! Gross! Also, the very first shot of this movie where he's introduced, did you think he was naked? Because
he was naked.
I always do. No.
He was naked.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Why
is he naked?
Playing a flute by the river. I don't know. He had like a Mowgli vibe.
I just felt like it was the camera angle and that it was my fault that I was thinking that. But you think he was naked too?
Yeah, but I was just like, I don't know. Is he taking a bath?
No, he wasn't. He was playing the flute naked.
I mean, maybe he was taking a break from the bath to play the flute.
I don't, why did we see him naked? I don't understand.
You can choose to edit this next part out because I am also concerned if I should share this, but I wanted to see if you caught it.
Okay.
When we met the witch lady, did you notice something about her
nipples?
Okay, why did she have the hardest nipples?
Why are there puppet nipples?
Why are there puppet nipples? There is
no
reason for puppet nipples. Okay,
nope.
you could keep that. I kind of was like, am I being creepy? And then the other thing about her that was like really, really weird is like her half sumo wrestler vibe where, I don't know if you ever noticed this, but she would start to squat. She'd be like,
and her, like, she would like do weird things with her legs sometimes.
Yeah, I was like, Why are you squatting? You don't need to squat.
It's hard to stand sometimes.
I
mean,
know.
listen, maybe the nipple message was, she's a free spirit who don't need no bra.
She doesn't.
You know, if they were girl mystics, they wouldn't be wearing bras either.
No way.
They were like total hipsters. One of them had a man bun.
That's cool.
I saw it. I'll find a picture of it. I swear to God, it was in there.
I just thought it was so cool that they just had like random tails. Like, I just feel like every creature he creates, or maybe it was that Brian, illustrator dude. It's like you want to label what it is, and then they add one element, and you're like, but it's like kind of also like this, and that's what makes them so cool. Like the dog, right?
Oh, he's so cute.
I was so fascinated with the dog because they gave it like the Muppet human mouth.
Yes.
And that made it so fun and different and just kind of like, I don't know.
There's so many scenes where it's like off screen, and then Kira will be like, come on, Fizzgig, and then like some human off screen like just takes it and floops it into the scene because
Floop
it just
is a
like
new word.
It just like flops and then like doesn't move, and then they like cut away real quick. It's so funny. I feel like they did that so much.
He definitely flooped, and he also like hamster rolled all throughout that castle.
I love that. I love that. There were other little things that did that too. That one scene where it was all the Skeksis like eating. I don't know why we watched it for so long, but it felt a little too long for Katie. Could have done less. Okay, it's a little gross. That there were little roly guys in there too.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, it was so fun.
The other thing that, oh God, I'm just blanking on right now. Oh, I know what it is. The potato people. Who are they?
The podlings.
Oh my God. That scene where they're just like having a good old time at the bar and hitting it back, and babies are just doing dances and everything's getting wild, and then the Beatles come in and...
I know, they ruin everything.
I was picking up some major Willow vibes there. I was like,
yeah,
we're at the local pub and we're just kind of doing our thing.
It's true. Yeah, because they're all like... earthy is the word I'm thinking of, maybe, where it's like they weren't underground, but they were like in like nature and huts and whatever, and they were all having a party. Yeah. And then those were the creatures that once all the Gelflings were massacred and dead, then the Skeksis would try to use their essence to like stay young, but it doesn't work. But then they keep doing it, so I don't get it.
Well, it didn't work because it wasn't a Gelfling. It was the potato people.
I know, but they've done that to a lot of potato podling people. And that's what turns that turns them into like slaves. So maybe they did it to make them slaves? I don't know.
You know what was done there's a lot of things done well, but one thing that I really liked is that Jen and Kira didn't have to like fall in love.
Yeah, although I feel like at the end they were kind of like, well, now it's a boy and a girl.
Well, I got the vibe of like he didn't want to include her, and she was like, no, I'm coming, and then he like felt like he killed her. So I saw it more as like a guilty friendship, not a lovers thing, because that was like way better than them falling in love.
But they are the last two though, so
actually, yeah, they should actually be lovers if there's any case. They have to actually keep their race going. That's awkward. Would you? Yeah. I mean, think about like
I don't know
if it was just you and another dude. Oh God, that would stink.
But then it's like all incesty. I don't know.
Who knows?
If I was Jen and like those people or those things at the end were like, you fixed it, good job, blah blah, now, and then they're like, we're all gonna leave now, but then they're like, but we're gonna leave this crystal, even though it like messed a bunch of stuff up and could probably do it again. Anyway, good luck with that. If I was Jen, I would have been like, yo, can you like bring back the entire race?
Yeah,
because it was murdered, and I feel like you guys probably can do that. Like, I just have this feeling, but he didn't. I don't even think Jen said words. I don't think he had words at the end. None at all.
No, it's just reading. He just knows how to read, not speak.
Words that stay, yeah.
That's a ding on the resume again.
There was one scene where I think it was right before he meets Kira, where where he's like walking through the forest and he's hearing things and whatever, and he's like looking around and he looks right at the camera. And I know it's a puppet, so like it's hard to probably know where your puppet's facing, but like he looked literally directly at the camera and nobody reshot it, and I hate it so much.
Really? Like it creeped you out?
Yeah, like he looks at me. Like I don't like that. Like don't look at me. I don't like it.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at me. I hate it.
I don't know, like, you're right. There were a lot of scenes of just, like, the forest and stuff, so...
And there were a lot of scenes of them. It would just cut to the Mystics on their, like, road trip.
And what was with them always being like, hum, hum? I was like, what, guys? What's happening?
They're very spiritual, I guess, but it was just so funny because I was like, we get it. They're walking.
That's all they did.
I don't need to see it.
They were so slow.
I was like, there's no way y'all are going to make it unless the castle is like down the road. And I don't think it is. There's no way. Because I felt like this all happened within like 2 days.
So I read that it didn't end up this way, but Jim Henson wanted the Skeksis, is that how you say them?
Skeksis.
The Skeksis to be modeled after the 7 deadly sins.
Oh,
but for whatever reason, there was like 9 of them.
Yeah, well, it started with 10 and then the one died.
Yeah, but again, that was probably like, he's just so nice. Someone's like, oh, we made more. And he's like, okay, we'll just change the script, you know, like, I'm the best boss. But yeah.
I guess I could kind of see that, because there was like the stereotypical like fat one that was like, ooh, like that would be Sloth. The one, there was like Envy. The one wanted to be Emperor and wasn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that.
What was with the guy always being like,
Chamberlain? I don't know, but I hate it. It's
and
creepy.
Every scene, he was like, I was like, dude. That's like, which is probably me if my friends would say it, but it's like when someone only has one line that they say over and over, you're like, we get it.
Yeah, I don't know what the choice for that was. Got a feeling it was to make him creepier. And it worked, because it's creepy.
Yeah.
I hated his face. I don't know why. Like, his face of all those other ones, like, I didn't like it. His nose felt, like, longer and pointier, and I was afraid.
They were terrifying.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? When you, like, Google this movie and just look at still shots, they're scarier than I think watching the whole movie.
Yeah, because once they talk, you're kind of like, oh, you guys, like, don't do much. You're just complaining about stuff.
Yeah, you're not like, and that was what was interesting. I think I read that like somebody wanted to go a direction where the podlings were gonna, remember when they were in that cage and the beetles were fighting?
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to move where they fell off the cliff and all died.
Wow.
And Jim Henson was like, no, it's not like that kind of movie. And once I read that, I was like, you know, it is like Kira gets stabbed, and that's probably the scariest, craziest part. Besides, like, the people getting the lives sucked out of them. But there's not, like, this, oh my god, I'm gonna, like, fall off the cliff or die, or, you know, it's like beetles are chasing me, but nothing too over the top.
That one scene, though, where they're all attacking the Chamberlain guy, the one who whines a lot, that was scary. I don't like that. But then again, you think, like, he's gonna be, like, bleeding or, you know, on the brink of death, and he's just naked. He's just like a naked Skeksis. And they're like, leave him. You know, that's his punishment. He's naked. And you're like, okay. I mean, again, not to be broken record, but in the show, there is definitely more aggressive and, like, violence from the Skeksis. Like, they are way scarier in the show. And there was one guy, I think it was, like, the scientist one who was, like, in the lab where the crystal would do the life-sucking thing. Did he have, like, a eye thing where it, like, wasn't a real eye?
Yeah.
So in the show, like, something happens where he gets punished and they, like, put this creature on his eyeball and it literally, like, rips his eyeball out and they show it. And, like, that's scary.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so, you know, they definitely, like, you know, again, to some degree, you could say adulted up with that show. But, yeah, they were scary to look at. I don't want to be near them, but I also don't think that the Skeksis would then, like, bum rush me or anything. Like, I think I'm good, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's another vibe I got, which obviously all these movies are after 1982, to was Coneheads.
Narful the Garth!
Yes! But the setup, remember how there's like it's like all centered and it has that like Roman gladiator vibe?
Yeah.
I don't know why I was like really feeling some Coneheads.
Yeah. I love Coneheads.
I love that you just remembered then. Narful the Garth!
It kind of sounds like the same name as those beetle things. They were called Garthum or whatever. Maybe that's what your brain is thinking of too.
Oh, maybe.
Well, and did you ever see Labyrinth with David Bowie?
No, and I
snap.
feel like I have to now because of this movie. Yeah.
Well, we can do that one time. But like,
we should.
It's a different vibe because it's kind of like, you know, I guess there's kind of like dark themes, but it's not like this, you know? It's a little more like bright colors. And like, again, you're kind of like, nobody's gonna be injured. We're good, you know? Mm-hmm. But that has Jennifer Connelly in it. She's like 13 in it or something crazy.
Really?
Yeah, she's the main character.
Huh.
Yeah. I have a very distinct memory, too, for this movie of, I don't know how old I was. I must have been young. Being in the, oh my God, what was the name of it? Okay. At Woodlock.
Oh boy.
Is this our first Woodlock reference on here?
Oh my God.
We
definitely have done
it, or are we good?
No, let's move on.
Okay, moving on. I think it was the Toddler Room. Was that a name of a place?
Yes,
Do you remember that?
Yes,
near the North
yes.
Lodge? Okay. I was alone in the toddler room.
Sounds about right.
I hope I really wasn't a toddler. I hope I was a little older.
The cruise on land, everybody left you.
Yep. And this movie was on the TV in there, and I remember watching it and like being a little scared, but like it was okay.
Was that your first time seeing it?
Maybe. It might have been. I'm really not sure. Because we never owned this on like VHS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's the thing. When I watched this, I was like, I don't even know if I ever saw this. Like, I literally feel like I've heard the movie title so much that I knew of it, but I just barely remembered the details.
And that scene of the, like, crystal when it is, like, sucking out or trying to suck out Kira's life.
That's creepy.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's the scene I remember watching, and I was like, oh, there's lava. That's scary. But, like, also mass genocide is scary.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of just want this type of creativity again. And I feel like, I don't know, we need something different.
Yeah, because something like this, I think, or this style, I think could be done really well now.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the story would need to be updated a little bit. Because this, I don't know, it's just kind of like a cliche. Prophecy and blah, blah, you know, like, ugh. I'm over it.
Yeah,
give me something else, please.
Yeah, but I think they just were like, so first of all, this staff that were like part of creating the puppets also created Yoda. Did you know that?
I did know that because I think Jim Henson was actually the voice of Yoda.
What?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because Yoda kind of sounds like Kermit the Frog.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm like 98% sure on that
But
one.
I think this whole film was so groundbreaking for the like puppeteer creation, and that was like, no one had ever seen anything like that at that time.
Yeah.
That you have to figure like, what is that next thing now?
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't even need a story. It was like, okay, we have a story. I think it was like, I read that he like wrote the story in like a night. Like, you know, he was just like, I want to, he's like, I want to do something dark and that's just, you know, let it fly.
Yeah.
So cool.
But see, that's the fun thing about when you do a fantasy movie, if it's done correctly, is there's so much like world building you can do with it, and you can have all these different creatures and nobody's gonna be like, I don't believe that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, there's a lot more believability I feel like you get because you're making up all the rules. But, you know, they just have to be interesting ones. They can't be like boring and stupid. But yeah, all the different puppets, I think, made this movie what it was. And like you said, where it's like, if you really pay attention and you look in the background, you're gonna see stuff that you probably never noticed before, but it's like, looks good and is, you know, just little nuggets of joy. I wish that they showed this movie of like people actually behind the scenes. Like,
I wish we
I think
saw...
that does exist, actually. I'm
Does
not even
it?
kidding. I feel like there is a documentary about it.
Because to see 6 people make one of those
Yeah.
Skeksis or whatever.
I would think the Gartham, too, would be a lot of people, because that was big.
So I read that was actually more like heavy, that they had to take breaks a lot because it was like someone trying to hold up that whole giant costume.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have a pick for you.
Whee!
And, we did a lot of Christmas, which is like happy, life is good, blue. This was like a little dark, but it was still kid, like this isn't a movie made for adults. So I wanted to do a movie that was made for adults. We gonna adult up, if you will,
all right,
on this movie. So this is a very famous movie.
Oh.
It's a very good movie. Oh, it's very highly rated. Holy moly.
Ooh.
Okay, 1996.
Wow.
It's rated R. And I wanted a movie also that kind of like reflected wintertime, but wasn't like Christmas, because in wintertime sometimes people feel like isolated or cold. So I don't think that's a great clue that I just gave you. Now that I think about the movie, it's really not. Okay. We are gonna watch did this win an award?
Oh my god.
Definitely did. It won 2 Oscars.
Oh wow.
1996. It's a crime drama thriller. Oh yeah. We about to watch Fargo. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, don't you know?
This movie rocked 1996.
Yep.
I feel like everyone talked about this movie when it came out.
Yeah. I don't know. This might have been, I'm sure the Coen brothers had a movie before this, but I feel like of their earlier movies, this was very popular.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love it. Oh my god, Frances McDormand.
I love her so much.
Oh my god, and then this also has William Macy and Steve Buscemi. This is a jam-packed cast.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people in this movie.
Wow. Didn't think you were going there.
I'm
ready for it.
I went there. Yeah, this was, in my opinion, this was their first big movie, and then 2 years later, The Big Lebowski, which is amazing.
That's a good one.
And then, of course, they had all their other awesome ones. But yeah, I can't remember the last time I watched this movie.
Okay, we're getting this revved up. This was a warm-up, what we just did for Fargo. Because Fargo's a little dark.
Yeah. And I love scary movies, Bridge. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But I didn't want to pick one that was a halvesy, because I feel like there's a lot of movies that some might consider a horror and some might not. So I was like, we'll go thriller. We'll go crime drama thriller, because it's dark, but I don't think it's too scary.
And your birthday will be one of the next ones. So maybe I could give you a selection to pick from, because it's like a birthday special.
Oh my god.
Would that make sense? Would the next one I pick for you be your birthday?
Well, my birthday's on a Friday, but it's gonna be my birthday week.
Woo!
So yeah.
Well, kids in the toddler room at Woodlock, you're gonna be okay.
Movie alone.
It's just puppets. It's not real. Just look at the cool puppets. Don't worry about it.
Just don't forget what to do with the shard.
Ugh, the stupid shard.
Listen to the directions the first time so that you help yourself, right?
Yeah.
And also, if you have wings, use them, okay? Because I don't get what. I don't know.
She really
could have flown all over. We did.
Well, and again, she's so incredible that she just was like, "Oh yeah, I also have wings."
And I won Woman of the Year, and I was Time Magazine's, front cover. Yes, that was me. That was me. I believe it. I believe it. Yes.
I love it.
And Bridge, I gotta say, if you were an evil Skeksis and I was your good version mystic, I would give you a behind hug. And because that's what they do at the end. They do a from behind hug, and then they all fix things. So I could do another.
Wow.
You want another? I got more. You want another?
It's just like, what? I'm just imagining their like turtle shell in the back and your arms like not even getting anywhere close to hugging. And you're just like, arms. Oh yeah, that's right. They had the big long mystic arm. Oh yeah, what else you got? Because I'm blanking. Okay.
Bridge, if you were Ogra, I would give you a bra to wear. 'Cause I love you.
You know what, Kate? What kind of sister are you? I'd expect you to take off yours and live the good fight with me.
Oh, you're right. I should do that. That's true. That's true. Just gotta live free.
Well, I mean, here's to a future where Jen gets more skills. So
one day.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. And Kate, I hope that these Netflix executives are paying attention to the sisters who've seen it and they understand that we are the voice of the people.
Yeah.
And put it back on Netflix.
Okay, but also it's so highly rated. What is wrong with you people? Like, it was good, and you gave Gwyneth Paltrow a second season, and her show has 1 star, and it's trash. And she told people not to get vaccinated. Okay? Jen, the Gelfling, at least knows that, I assume, because he can read.
Yeah,
Can't say the same for Gwyneth, so I'm over it.
Yeah, I think Jen would be better about vaccinations.
Definitely.
This is a good topic.
Okay, so sorry. If anyone else feels as passionate as I do about a children's Netflix show, then, you know, do with that what you will. But maybe if we complain enough, we'll get what we want. That's my motto.
Okay.
It's never worked out too well before, but who knows? Maybe one
Isn't
day.
that what podcasts are? It's just complaining to the void, hoping that...
I feel like we do more laughing than complaining on here, which is...
That's true. That's true. Your
good.
Randy has been contained, so...
I've tried. I do.
I don't want you to try. I want you to be you know?
Keep them deep in there. Deep in there. Well, it helps with editing, too, if Randy, stays asleep. So.
True that. Well, I love you, Kate, and don't you know, Bobby, dear Fargo, let's go.
Oh,
I can't wait. Oh, yeah. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah, and Minnesotans... Oh, Jesus Christ, that's so bad. I'm so sorry.
We have one Minnesota listener because I work with her, and
we might have more than just one.
She's an angel. She's an angel of a human.
Oh, yeah.
And she doesn't have the accent, but I wish she did.
Aww.
She has a little, but not really.
Oh, I can't say this in the accent because it's really hard for me to do that accent. But listeners, if you really love us, whether you're from Minnesota or not, you should leave us a review. We love reviews. We love written reviews. They make us so happy. We got a new one the other day, which made us it made me super excited. And then I told Bridget, it made her really excited, and we were very excited to see that. So,
Kate, what is writing?
Well, a review, if you don't know, it's words that stay on our Apple Podcast forever, and then it makes other people want to listen to us. So we love those. So you should do those.
I love it.
Yeah. And check out our website, sisterswhoseenit.com. You guys can interact with us, request movies.
Yes, please.
All that good stuff. We love that too. Okay?
Yes. We want to hear from you.
All right, listeners. Well.
Love you, Kate.
I love you, Bridge. We'll see y'all next week for Fargo.
Fargo.
Oh, yeah.
Oi.
Oi. That's not.
That's the Jewish Minnesota.
That's a little, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Love you.
Goodbye.
Bye, listeners.
Bye-bye.
Boop.
Thanks for tuning in to Sisters Who've Seen It. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at sisterswhoseenit.com, where you can email us, request movies to be reviewed, and keep up to date with all things sisters. Also, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next week.